The Caribbean sun sparkled off the family paradise's pristine white hull as the Marshall twins chased each other across the deck, their identical laughs carrying on the ocean breeze. Their parents snapped the photo that would later haunt them. 5-year-old Noah with his arm around Ethan, matching grins against an endless blue horizon. 12 hours later, the ship's captain announced over the intercom that 2 passengers had gone missing. Security footage showed nothing. The ocean revealed no bodies. As the Marshalls collapsed in grief, a woman in first class slipped a phone from her designer purse, typed a simple message, "The acquisition was successful," and gazed out at a distant private island, barely visible on the horizon. Before we dive in, I'm curious, where are you watching from right now? And is it day or night? Let me know in the comments below. Please subscribe to our channel. It truly helps these stories reach more people. Sarah Marshall smoothed her 5-year-old twins' matching blue shirts as they fidgeted in line to board the Oceanic Cruise Line's newest ship, the Family Paradise. Her husband James juggled their carry-on bags while the boys, Ethan and Noah, bounced with excitement. "First family vacation in 2 years," Sarah whispered to James. "I can't believe we're finally doing this." As they checked in, Sarah noticed the staff taking an unusual interest in the twins. The woman at the counter kept glancing at them while typing notes, then asked, "Identical twins? How wonderful. Any special talents or unique characteristics we should know about?" Something in her tone made Sarah's skin prickle. Before she could respond, a crew member named Diego arrived with towels, his eyes darting nervously between the woman and the twins. On their second day at sea, the twins begged to join the Treasure Hunters program, an afternoon activity where children followed clues throughout the ship. "We'll pick 'em up at 4, James told the youth coordinator, a perky woman named Melissa who scanned their room cards with practiced efficiency. "Perfect. They'll have a wonderful time," she replied, adding with peculiar emphasis, "We take extra special care of the little ones." At 4 o'clock, when Sarah and James arrived at the Children's Center, Melissa's smile vanished. The twins, they never returned from the scavenger hunt. What followed was chaos. The ship's security team conducted a deck-by-deck search. Announcements blared over intercoms. Passengers joined the frantic search, peering into every possible hiding place. "Children don't just vanish on a cruise ship," Sarah screamed as a security officer attempted to calm her. The head of security, a stone-faced man named Victor, showed them grainy footage of the children's area. "We have them entering the activity room at 1 p.m., but there's a technical malfunction from 1:40 to 2:30. "That's not possible," James insisted, his voice breaking. "Modern security systems have backups." Victor's expression never changed. "We believe they may have gone overboard." Sarah collapsed against the wall. "No. They can't swim without floaties. They would never climb the railings." Something was wrong, terribly wrong. The ship hadn't stopped. No lifeboats had been lowered. The captain hadn't announced a man overboard protocol. As they stumbled back to their cabin, their room attendant slipped Sarah a folded napkin. Not the first time, it read in hurried handwriting. When Sarah looked up, the attendant was gone. In their cabin, they found a cruise line executive waiting with a folder of documents. "Before we return to port," he said without emotion, "we'll need you to sign these papers." James grabbed the papers, scanning the text. Non-disclosure agreement and compassionate settlement jumped from the page. "Sign these, or what?" Sarah demanded. 3 days later, the Marshalls returned home to Tennessee. Their house, once filled with the twins' laughter, now echoed with silence. The cruise line had paid for grief counselors, arranged the boys' memorial service, and deposited a 7-figure sum into their account, all contingent on their silence. "We were in shock," James later told his brother, a journalist named Mike. "They kept saying the boys must have fallen overboard, that sometimes children slip away unnoticed. They made it sound like it was our fault." The police investigation went nowhere. International waters created jurisdictional problems. The cruise line's legal team blocked every attempt to access additional security footage or interview crew members. "There's something they're hiding," Sarah insisted, refusing to pack away the twins' belongings. Their bedroom remained unchanged. 2 small beds with rocket ship comforters, shelves of picture books, and a table where the boys had left their latest crayon drawings. James spent nights searching online for answers, eventually finding an obscure forum where other parents shared similar stories. Lost at sea_mom. Our daughter disappeared on an oceanic cruise last year. They paid us off too. 8-year-old gifted pianist. Cruise Truth, 2023. Same with my son. Photographic memory. They said he must have fallen overboard at night. Justice for Jamie. My twins disappeared 3 years ago. Same cruise line, same accident at sea story. Sarah joined the forum, connecting with these parents who understood her pain. A pattern emerged. All the missing children had special qualities, twins, unusual talents, or distinctive features. All families had been pressured to sign NDAs. All had received substantial settlements. When Mike tried to investigate the pattern for his newspaper, his editor shut it down. "Oceanic's parent company owns our publisher," he admitted to James, "and I've been warned that pursuing this could be dangerous." Meanwhile, Sarah struggled with consuming grief. One night, as she sat in the twins' room clutching their favorite stuffed animals, she noticed something about Noah's backpack hanging on the wall hook. His lucky orange backpack he took everywhere. The front pocket was unzipped. "James," she called, her voice trembling. "Didn't Noah take his backpack on the cruise?" James appeared in the doorway, eyes hollow from lack of sleep. "Of course he did. It had his comfort items." "Why?" "Then how is it here?" she whispered, pointing at the bright orange backpack they both recognized. James shook his head slowly. "That's impossible. It can't be here." "Unless they never fell overboard at all," Sarah finished. 9 months after the twins' disappearance, marine biologist Dr. Amelia Reeves crouched on the rocky shoreline of a small private island in the Caribbean, collecting water samples. The island belonged to healthcare billionaire Robert Westfield, who had granted limited research access to study coral degradation around the property. Something bright orange caught her eye among the rocks, incongruous against the natural landscape. Amelia picked up a child's ride-on suitcase, salt-damaged and weathered. Opening it, she found a waterlogged notebook, some toy cars, and a plastic bag containing a folded paper. Inside the lid, faded but legible, was a name: Noah Marshall. The paper in the plastic bag was a child's drawing, 2 identical boys standing in front of separate houses. One house was grand with a swimming pool, the other looked institutional with high fences. The boys had sad faces. Amelia photographed everything before continuing her research. Later, using the ship's satellite internet, she searched for Noah Marshall missing and found newspaper articles about twins who vanished on a cruise. The orange backpack matched the description in one article. She contacted the FBI, but the agent seemed strangely dismissive. That case was closed. Accident at sea, the family has moved on. Unwilling to let it go, Amelia tracked down the Marshall's address and sent photos of her discovery. When Sarah Marshall opened the envelope and saw the backpack, she collapsed. "It's Noah's," she whispered to James. "And that drawing, that's how he draws people, with the big heads and stick arms." "But why are they drawn in separate houses?" James asked, studying the image. "And why would his backpack wash up on a private island 9 months later?" The discovery reignited their search. James hired a private investigator who used the backpack evidence to pressure the cruise line for passenger lists from that fateful voyage. Among the names Robert and Eleanor Westfield, the owners of the very island where Noah's backpack had washed ashore. Further research revealed something disturbing. 2 years before the cruise, the Westfields had lost their twin sons in a house fire. Now, social media showed Eleanor Westfield at charity events with a boy who looked remarkably like Noah. Sarah's hands shook as she enlarged the photos. "That's him, James. That's our son." Meanwhile, Amelia continued her research on Westfield Island, now paying attention to more than coral. She noticed high-security fences inland, away from the main residence. Using her drone to map coral beds, she accidentally captured footage of a compound with playground equipment and what appeared to be dormitories. When she reported this to her university supervisor, he immediately revoked her research permit. "The Westfields are major donors. We can't risk antagonizing them with privacy concerns." That evening, Sarah received an anonymous email containing a single photo, Noah, sitting at a piano in what appeared to be an elegant home, dated 3 months after the disappearance. The email text read only, "Stop looking or lose them both forever." "Both," James repeated, his voice catching. "That means Ethan is still alive too." The Marshalls connected with other families from the forum who had lost children on cruises. Comparing notes, they discovered that several wealthy passengers from their cruise had suddenly appeared with new children months later. It's not just the Westfields, Sarah realized. It's happening systematically. Mike, James's journalist brother, began secretly investigating passenger lists from multiple cruises where children had disappeared. He found a disturbing pattern on each cruise. There were at least 3 passengers who had recently lost children to accidents or illness. "It's like they're shopping," Mike said, his voice hollow. "These wealthy people who lost children are somehow replacing them with kids from the cruises." As they dug deeper, Sarah infiltrated an exclusive grief support group for wealthy families who had lost children. There she met Eleanor Westfield in person. "My greatest blessing was finding a second chance," Eleanor told the group, touching her locket. When it fell open, Sarah glimpsed the photo inside. Noah smiling in clothes she had never seen him wear. "Your son," Sarah managed to say, nodding at the locket. "He's beautiful." Eleanor smiled sadly. "The coordinator found him for us, said he was perfect, just like our Andrew was. His brother wasn't suitable, unfortunately, too rebellious." Sarah fought to keep her expression neutral as Eleanor continued, oblivious to whom she was speaking with. "The transition period is difficult, of course. They resist at first, but children are adaptable. Noah barely mentions his life before us now." Sarah excused herself to the bathroom, where she vomited from the shock of hearing her son's name from this woman's lips. As she splashed water on her face, her phone vibrated with a text from James. "Ethan may still be on the island. We need to move fast." That night, Sarah lay awake, clutching the photo of Noah at the piano. "They're alive," she whispered into the darkness. "Both of them, and I'm going to bring them home." The Marshalls' dining room had transformed into an investigation headquarters. Maps of Westfield Island covered the walls. Photos of the Westfields and other suspicious couples from the cruise were pinned alongside social media images showing children who resembled missing ones. "It's a replacement program," James explained to Dr. Reeves, who had flown in to help them. "Wealthy people who've lost children somehow use the cruise line to acquire new ones that match specific criteria." "But how is the cruise line involved?" Amelia asked. Sarah pointed to passenger questionnaires they'd completed before boarding. "These forms ask about children's talents, allergies, special needs, information that goes beyond what's necessary for a vacation." Mike had discovered that all the families with missing children had completed these detailed questionnaires and had their children photographed during boarding. "They're cataloging them," Sarah said, her voice breaking, "like a shopping catalog for the wealthy and grieving." Their investigation revealed more connections. Robert Westfield sat on the board of the cruise line's parent company. Several other couples who had acquired children had financial ties to the corporation. They call themselves the Circle of Second Chances, Mike explained, showing them a private forum he'd hacked. They believe they deserve these children more than their original families because of their resources and influence. In the forum, members discussed their acquisitions and the adjustment period. One post chilled them to the bone. The coordinator ensures only suitable families receive placements. Those who can provide advantages the children's original families never could. Sarah thought of Eleanor's words about Ethan being unsuitable and rebellious. They've separated our boys, she realized. Noah went to the Westfields, but Ethan must still be on the island, James finished. That compound Amelia photographed, it's where they keep the children during transitions or if they're deemed unsuitable. The police were no help. When they presented their evidence, the detective assigned to them seemed initially interested but called the next day to say the case was outside his jurisdiction. Someone got to him, Mike said. The circle has influence everywhere. Sarah infiltrated more of Eleanor's social events, carefully building a relationship with the woman who had her son. She learned that Noah now took piano lessons, attended an exclusive private school, and had been told his birth parents died in an accident. He had nightmares at first. Eleanor confided during lunch, calling for his brother and parents. The coordinator said that's normal. They all go through the separation anxiety phase. The coordinator? Sarah asked carefully. She matches the right children with the right families. Eleanor explained. She helped us heal after losing our boys. Said Noah was perfect for us, same blood type, similar intelligence level, even looks like Andrew did. Meanwhile, Amelia used her research credentials to return to the island with hidden cameras disguised as scientific equipment. Her footage revealed guards patrolling the compound and children playing in a fenced yard, including a boy who looked exactly like Noah. "That's Ethan," Sarah gasped, touching the screen. "My baby is alive." When they took their evidence to an FBI agent Mike trusted, they were shocked to discover the agent's wife was wearing a bracelet with the circle's symbol, a small gold charm of interlinked rings. That night, their house was broken into. The maps and photos were gone. Computers stolen. On Sarah's pillow lay one of Noah's small shoes, a warning. James received a call from an unlisted number. "Your children are being well cared for," a woman's voice said. "Ethan will soon be placed with a suitable family. Noah is thriving with the Westfields. If you continue this investigation, you will never see either of them again." Sarah grabbed the phone. "Who are you?" "I'm the coordinator," the woman replied. "And I know what's best for the children. Do you really want to tear Noah away from his new life? From all the advantages he now has? Think about what's best for your sons." The line went dead, leaving Sarah and James facing an impossible choice. Through Mike's connections, they located Diego, the nervous crew member from the cruise, now working at a restaurant in Miami. After much persuasion, he agreed to meet them in a public park. "I quit after your boys disappeared," Diego said, constantly scanning their surroundings. "I couldn't be part of it anymore." "Part of what?" James pressed. Diego's voice dropped to a whisper. "The selection program. It's been running for years. The cruise line identifies potential candidates through those pre-boarding questionnaires. They take photos during check-in for the digital memory package, but those photos go to potential buyers." "Buyers," Sarah repeated, the word burning her throat. "Wealthy clients submit specifications, age, appearance, talents, personality traits. They're looking for children who can replace ones they've lost. The more specific the match, the higher the price." "How do they take them?" James asked. "During port days or activities with controlled access, the selected children are given juice or snacks with mild sedatives. They're led through staff areas to waiting vehicles, documented as medical emergencies if anyone notices." Diego explained that the children were taken to Westfield Island for what they called transition, a period of psychological conditioning to accept their new identities. Some adapt quickly, Diego said. Others resist. The resistant ones stay on the island longer, sometimes indefinitely, if they can't be adjusted. That's why they separated our boys, Sarah realized. Noah adapted, but Ethan fought back. The coordinator oversees everything, Diego continued. She's actually the cruise director, Veronica Hayes. Her official role gives her access to every area of the ship and every passenger file. Sarah gasped. The woman who ran the children's program when we boarded. She selects which children will disappear and which families will receive them. She calls it healing two families at once, giving grieving parents new children and giving ordinary children extraordinary opportunities. As they left the meeting, Diego grabbed Sarah's arm. There's something else. Some cruise executives have used the program themselves. The company president's daughter drowned 3 years ago. 6 months later, he had a new daughter who looks remarkably like your friend Eleanor's niece. They watched Diego walk away, processing the horrific scale of the operation. Before he reached his car, a black SUV swerved onto the sidewalk. James shouted a warning, but it was too late. The vehicle struck Diego head-on before speeding away. As sirens wailed in the distance, Mike checked Diego's pulse. "He's gone," he said grimly. "They're cleaning up loose ends." With Diego's information and Amelia's footage, the marshals formulated a desperate plan. They couldn't trust the authorities. The circle's influence reached too far. "We need to get both boys at once," Sarah insisted. "If we only target one location, they'll move the other child." Mike published an explosive article about the investigation, carefully omitting certain details but putting public pressure on the cruise line. His editor fired him immediately, but the story went viral. Amelia discovered the island's security changed shifts every Tuesday at midnight, creating a brief window with minimal coverage. "I can get us to the island on my research boat," she explained. "But we'll need help once we're there." James contacted a private security specialist, a former Navy SEAL, whose own daughter had been kidnapped years earlier. He agreed to help, without asking about payment. "Getting onto the island is possible," he told them, studying Amelia's drone footage. "Getting off with the children will be the challenge." Meanwhile, Sarah continued her relationship with Eleanor Westfield, angling for an invitation to their home. "I'd love to see your art collection," she said during lunch. "Perhaps this weekend?" Eleanor agreed, unaware of Sarah's true identity or intentions. As they finalized their plans, a detective they hadn't spoken to before contacted them. "I believe your story," he said. "My sister's son disappeared on a cruise 5 years ago. I've been investigating privately ever since." With his help, they obtained legal documents, emergency custody orders for both boys based on the evidence they'd gathered. "These may not hold up long-term," the detective warned, "but they'll give us legal cover for the initial recovery." The night before their operation, Sarah received a text message from an unknown number. "We know what you're planning. Last warning, stop now, or you'll never see either child again." Attached was a photo of Noah in his bedroom at the Westfield mansion and one of Ethan in what appeared to be a dormitory on the island. "They're watching us," James realized. "It doesn't matter," Sarah said, her determination hardened by seeing her sons' faces. "Tomorrow we bring our boys home." That night, Sarah packed Noah's favorite stuffed dinosaur and Ethan's beloved robot toy. "Remember who you are," she whispered to the toys. "Help them remember too." Dawn broke over the Caribbean as Amelia's research vessel approached Westfield Island from the north side, away from the main dock. The former Navy SEAL, Carter, prepared his gear while James studied the compound's layout one final time. "Remember," Carter instructed, "we have approximately 20 minutes to locate Ethan and any other children, then reach the extraction point before the alarm systems reset." Meanwhile, Sarah and Detective Morgan pulled up to the Westfield estate in Naples, Florida. Sarah clutched her purse containing the custody papers, a sedative prescribed by her doctor, and Noah's dinosaur toy. "Mrs. Westfield is expecting me," she told the security guard, who checked his list and waved them through. Eleanor greeted Sarah warmly. "I've been looking forward to showing you the collection. And you've brought a friend?" "My art advisor," Sarah improvised as Detective Morgan nodded professionally. On the island, James, Carter, and Amelia used the research access code to enter through the service dock. Moving silently through the tropical underbrush, they approached the compound from its blind spot between two security cameras Amelia had identified. Carter disabled the perimeter alarm, and they slipped inside the fence. The children's dormitory was eerily quiet in the early morning. James's heart pounded as Carter picked the lock. Inside, they found 6 children sleeping in small beds. James moved from bed to bed until he spotted a boy with Noah's face. Ethan, his son, alive but thinner than he remembered. "Ethan," he whispered, gently shaking the boy's shoulder. "Ethan, it's Daddy." The child's eyes fluttered open, confusion turning to disbelief. "Daddy? Is it really you?" James fought back tears. "Yes, buddy. I've come to take you home." In Florida, Sarah toured the Westfield mansion, desperately scanning for signs of Noah. As they passed a music room, she heard piano notes, a simple melody she recognized, the lullaby she had sung to the twins since infancy. "Noah has his lesson now," Eleanor explained. "He's quite talented." Sarah stepped into the doorway and saw her son sitting at a grand piano, his small fingers picking out the familiar tune. "Would you like to meet him?" Eleanor asked proudly. "More than anything," Sarah whispered. On the island, alarms suddenly blared. "Someone's triggered the system," Carter shouted. "We need to move now." James scooped up Ethan while Carter and Amelia gathered the other children. "These kids have families too," Amelia insisted when Carter hesitated. They ran for the extraction point, but armed security guards appeared ahead. Carter handed James a canister. Flash bang. Cover the kids' ears and eyes. The distraction worked, allowing them to change course toward the secondary extraction point, a small cove where a local fisherman waited with his boat. At the Westfield mansion, Noah looked up when Sarah entered the music room. His eyes showed no recognition. "Noah, this is my friend," Eleanor introduced. "She loves music too." Sarah knelt beside the piano bench. "That's a beautiful song," she said, her voice trembling. "My sons loved it. I used to sing it to them every night." She began to hum the lullaby softly. Noah's fingers froze on the keys, his eyes widening. "Mommy used to sing that," he whispered. "Yes," Sarah said, pulling the dinosaur toy from her purse. "And Rex used to sleep with you every night." Noah reached for the toy hesitantly. "Rex? I had dreams about Rex, and about a boy who looked like me." "Your twin brother," Sarah confirmed as Detective Morgan entered the room, custody papers in hand. Eleanor realized what was happening. "No, he's mine now. You signed him away." She lunged for Noah, but Detective Morgan blocked her. "Mrs. Westfield, I have a court order for Noah Marshall's immediate return to his legal parents." Eleanor screamed for security as Noah, confused and frightened, clutched Rex and stared at Sarah with dawning recognition. "It's time to go home," Sarah said gently, holding out her hand. On the island, a helicopter appeared overhead, not rescue, but a private aircraft landing near the compound. The coordinator stepped out, her cruise line uniform exchanged for expensive civilian clothes. "You don't understand what you're destroying," she shouted when she spotted James with Ethan. "These children have opportunities now their original families could never provide. They have something better," James called back. "They have love, real love, not ownership." As they reached the fishing boat, gunfire erupted from the tree line. Carter pushed them down, taking a bullet in the shoulder before returning fire to cover their escape. The small boat sped away from the island. Ethan clinging to James while the other rescued children huddled together in the stern. "Is Mommy getting Noah?" Ethan asked, his voice small but hopeful. James kissed his son's forehead. "Yes, and we're all going home." 1 year later, the Marshall family gathered on their back porch, watching the twins chase fireflies in the twilight. The boys, now 6, still showed signs of their ordeal. Ethan startled at loud noises, and Noah sometimes woke crying for his other mother. The circle of second chances had crumbled under public scrutiny after Mike's expose went national. The coordinator and several cruise executives faced human trafficking charges. Some of the wealthy recipients had claimed ignorance of the children's origins and avoided prosecution, including Eleanor Westfield, who had entered a psychiatric facility after Noah's removal. The 5 other children rescued from the island had been reunited with their families. Together, they had formed a support network, helping each other heal from wounds both visible and hidden. "The boys want to go fishing this weekend," James said, handing Sarah a cup of tea. Their small fishing boat, purchased with part of the settlement from their massive lawsuit against the cruise line, had become a family symbol of reclamation. After months of therapy, the twins had finally agreed to go near water again. "I think that's perfect," Sarah replied. Later, as she tucked the boys into their beds, still in the same room, as they refused to sleep separately, Noah asked, "Mom, are we safe now?" Sarah smoothed his hair. "Yes, sweetheart, you're safe. But the bad people took us once," Ethan worried. "And we found you," Sarah reminded him. "We will always find you." The twins held hands across the space between their beds as they drifted to sleep, a habit they developed since their reunion. 2 brothers, identical but unique, finally home where they belonged. That's the end of the story. What would you have done if you were in the Marshals' position when they first discovered Noah's backpack? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this suspenseful tale, hit subscribe for more stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Click to discover our next thrilling story now.